Hello my guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to the Pride Special. Woo! So I was trying to think of something quick and easy for this video because burnout. And I decided that in this video I'm going to be drawing LGBTQ plus puns. I thought of doing your classic flags as people type thing, but honestly it's been done a million times. What would I do that's different? So make sure to stick around to the end of the video to see all these lovely puns. It's gonna be a very cheesy video. Also, please make sure you're subscribed. So far 100% of my viewers are subscribed, so if you're not subscribed, don't be that one person. Don't ruin the statistics. And on with the video. So the first one that came to mind was drawing an ace, the card, but with ace flag colors. It was really hard coming up with the puns at first. I don't know why. I was trying to think of easy things I could draw so I could make a ton, but also things that, were still good, I guess. Still funny puns. I thought of doing a bicycle, like bisexual, but I don't want to draw a bicycle, man. I don't think I can. So finding puns that worked for both of those criteria was kind of hard, but in the end I did come up with a few. Some of them are less good than others, especially the last one, but it's fine. So I went pretty simple here, like I did with all of them. I just made it an ace of hearts, because heart, sexuality, attraction, all that, and then made the heart ace colors, and then made the actual card the rainbow flag, because I didn't know what else to put. I guess I could have just made a white card, but that's basic. You gotta make it rainbow. And then I struggled to kind of find background colors for each of these that worked well. I didn't want to make any of them the same background colors, but I also wanted to find something that, contrasted well enough. So for all of them, I just put down a background color that works well, shade behind the actual thing to separate more, and also add a white border. And I think this works pretty well for all of them. They all pop out, your eye doesn't really draw to the background. And I think most of them clearly show the pun. This is obviously an ace. And then right after that, the next thing that popped into my head was a romantic. And just like asexual and ace, there's a shortened form which is arrow. So I drew an arrow. Like I said, these were quite simple. Literally, I just drew an arrow here. The ace card was probably the most difficult one. I also tried to make each of them take as much of the page, as much space on the page as I could. They're quite simple, and I didn't want them to be small and guess less noticeable. I don't know, there's so much space, I didn't want to waste it. So yeah, this one definitely was a lot simpler compared to the last one. It's probably the second most simple one I drew though. It is literally just an arrow. I mean, I did take a lot of time to try and make it not perfect, but symmetrical and fairly even. I did use a pressure sensitive brush for all of these though, since they're all kind of simple drawings, and whenever it's a simple drawing, I tend to use a pressure sensitive brush because it feels more freeing and I can mess around with it more. Honestly though, the hardest part of this video was probably making the spaces on the flag kind of even. Kind of a perfectionist a lot of the time, and so I spent a lot of time going back and forth trying to make each of these parts even, and it was a struggle. They're not perfect, most of these strips aren't completely even with one another, but it's not that big of a deal. So once again, I just slapped on a background. This time purple worked the best out of the colors I tested, at least. I don't know why, but for background colors, I usually have a lot of trouble thinking of what would go best. I don't know why. I guess it's harder since there's already an assortment of colors and you have to have it match with all those. A pink or red probably would have worked the best, but I already used that for the first one, so I didn't want to redo that. And then once again, I just slapped a border around it, and it was done. Then the next one, I kind of didn't want to do this one because I guess I've heard it a lot. I mean, most of these aren't like the most unique puns, but I did a lesbian, you know, like a bean, except it's lesbian. I've heard many bean puns for various LGBTQ plus identities, so I knew eventually at one point I'd have to do it. I'm not that creative. I knew eventually I'd have to turn to the bean pun, so I just drew like a general bean shape. I think I could have done a better bean, but it was good enough, and I drew a little face on it too because, I don't know, just drawing a bean and coloring it the lesbian flag colors, I could do more than that. It gets a face. It gets personality. It's a very derpy face though because, I don't know, beans are derpy apparently or something. Don't know why I associate beans with derpiness, and just how it is. So for all of these, when I was coloring it in the flag, I selected the shape, but I also would select the line art, because if you just select the shape, a lot of times there are these like white lines on the outside, but also since I used the transform tool to make all of these bigger, it resulted in like edges being kind of blurry, so I couldn't just select the line art, which was annoying. Okay, so for some of them, I angled the flag stripes and some of them I didn't. Like for the arrow, I angled it so that it was more even with the arrow shape. But this one, I just made it completely horizontal instead of kind of following the shape of the bean. I don't know why I did some and didn't do others. I just kind of did whatever I felt like in the moment, I guess. And for this one, I went with a nice blue background. It, you know, worked well with the orange and worked well with the pink. I think I could have gone for a little bit different of a blue to work better, but it's fine. The backgrounds aren't the most important things for these. It's all about those puns, right? Like, even the drawings aren't the best. I just want to get those sweet, sweet pride puns. Also, I don't know why. I think for the first two, I used my typical signature and my font that I've created. But for the last three, I didn't. I just hand wrote it. I don't know why I did that. Kinda sucks because I want all these to match each other. I think I added the signatures for the first two after I finished the third one. And then just kind of forgot how I did it. I don't know. Anyway, the next one is another classic pun. Everyone has heard about these kind of jokes like the when a pansexual is doing the dishes. Because, haha, funny pan, they're attracted to pans. So I did a pansexual pan, obviously. I don't know where I heard this. I saw some people talking about like the pan flag and that there's a new one. I don't know what's wrong with the old one. So if anyone knows, tell me, but I'm going to keep using it until someone inevitably tells me that like the flag creator was transphobic or something, because for some reason that always happens. I'm looking at you, old lesbian flag, but I hope the normal pan flag was fine and like some people just didn't really resonate with it or something, so they made a new one. I hope that's what happened. Okay, I know I said the ace card might have been the most, not difficult, but you know, the drawing that was the most intricate. I don't know, but I think this one was actually the most detailed one, the least simple one. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. I think this was that, because drawing a pan is a lot harder than just like, you know, these kind of 2D shapes I made for all of them. It is kind of wonky, but I didn't care too much. Can be wonky. And for this one, I went with a green background. Not sure about the choice, but oh well. Also for all of these, I did want to select the colors directly from the flag. I could have made them colors that I like working with more, like, I don't know, desaturate them some or stuff like that, but I want them to be, you know, the pure colors of the flag and really represent the flags the most I can in these. So yeah. Then the last one. I struggled a lot to come up with a final one. Like, I even looked up some LGBTQ plus puns to see if I could think of anything. And eventually the only thing I could come up was a polygon. So I tried drawing a few polygons. Yeah, polygon is just a multi-sided shape. So at first I was trying to do something a bit more abstract, not like, you know, your typical shape like a square or a triangle. But honestly, it looked like I was just trying to make a specific shape, but not doing it or something. Like that one kind of looked like a weird fish shape. So in the end, I went with the kind of like, whenever in like geometry and stuff, there would be a parallelogram. We would draw this shape. So that's when I went for a polygon. I just drew this, which, you know, is kind of just a slanted rectangle, which makes this just kind of slanted form of the flag. The flag is already a polygon, which already makes it a polygon. This pun was probably not a stretch, but like the worst one, just simply because it's so much harder to convey visually, because so much works for it that finding something that comes across as a polygon rather than anything else is really difficult. But I still like this one. It was fine. You know, the pun doesn't come across as well, of course, and it is the most simple one I drew. I was running out of ideas. Like, come on, cut me a break. It's fine. I really did save the worst for last. I'm not the biggest brain. I can't come up with a ton of puns. Like, I really almost drew a bicycle just because I couldn't think of anything else. Anyway, for this one, I went for a light yellow background. Once again, not sure about the choice here. Probably could have gone for purple if that wasn't already taken, or orange. I don't know about this specific yellow color, but it's fine. And those were all of the pride puns. I hope you enjoyed this video, even if it was kind of cheesy. I did just draw bad puns. And I hope you all have a nice Pride month. I know this is kind of late in the month, but I hope it's been nice so far. So make sure to like the video and subscribe, and follow all my social media in the description below, and I'll see you all next week.